Hey, this was kind of fun and funny and silly. You guys know how I do not want to rape or invade a brain. Like most good gods, I don't want to bother your brain unless you're praying or giving me like the freedom to bother your brain. Like most gods that are good, we only invade your private space or your brain when we're concerned or it's like a safety issue or you're starting to think bad thoughts. And we're wondering if we should worry about, the future of you turning bad or something. But as gods, we don't rape brains. Well, we try to wait until you think or say, my queen, my queen, my queen. Because the Our Father doesn't really work. The Hail Mary doesn't really work. A lot of these old prayers don't really work. So my queen, my queen, my queen is the new access to real gods that live on, that I created through my death and resurrection down here. So unless you think or say, my queen, my queen, my queen, we don't want to be invasive to your brain as people. And we also don't use our powers to know everything about you guys in a nosy way, unless, there's an important reason, or we're just curious and want to know, because, nobody wants to know that God knows everything constantly, because what if your nose itches? You don't really want everybody to know if your nose is itchy, because don't really want people to know that every 5 seconds, So we try not to bother people. If you guys want to be kind of having privacy. So as gods, we like people to have privacy. And if we bother you guys too much, we know that that ruins privacy. So unless there's a really important reason as a god to have to look inside of your brains or something. Sorry, I was parking I dropped the last passenger off at the airport. So since I did, I'm parking in this area where you sit as a Lyft driver, right? It's a parking area where you can park right next to the airport. And as a Lyft driver, you get in this parking place. And when you park in here, the Lyft app will put you into the airport delivery people thing. And then when there's an airport ride that's necessary, it'll tell the app, to tell you to go pick up somebody at the airport. And they call it in queue. So you drive to this parking lot in the airport and it puts you in this in queue thing. And then when it's your turn to get a Lyft ride, the app will tell you that you can go pick them up at the airport section. Where you have to go. You have to go where Lyft drivers go to pick them up. But you can drop them off at the door, but you can't pick them up at the door. And I don't know why. You have to go in this place called the ride share area. And that's where you pick up the people that need an airport ride. Well, so we don't use our powers as gods to, ruin privacy. We try to respect privacy and just find out what we need to know as gods when we need to know. Well, so I picked up this lady passenger and she was going to Alaska Airlines. And I thought, why? She had no luggage. And I thought, well, some people are hardcore travelers. They're really good at traveling and they only carry a backpack or a sports bag. So I thought, well, hardcore travelers don't carry a suitcase, but she didn't even have a backpack. I thought, oh my gosh, maybe I didn't see her purse, because I didn't even see a purse. And then I thought, well, maybe she put everything in her pockets, but her pants were really pretty jeans. She had really pretty jeans on, but they were pretty tight jeans. So I was like, how can you put that much of your clothes in your tight jeans? And I thought, well, let's not be rude to the poor passenger. And I just dismissed it, but thought, wow, this is weird, but I just dismissed it. And then I was getting near the airport and she's like, I know it says to drop me off, at the airlines, but I'm going for the rental car, or I'm going to the rental car section. And I started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I could not figure out how the hell you were going on an airline flight without any luggage. And she was such a fun passenger. She played along. She was like, yeah, no, it's in my pockets. And then she laughed, and then she said again, she said something funny again. Oh, yeah, I just put all my stuff in my purse. What a nice lady to go along with how silly I was being. Well, when you get a Lyft ride, it tells you they want to be dropped off at Alaska or Southwest. And then sometimes they don't pick an airline, and then you don't know if it's a rental car or an airline that they're going to. And then when it doesn't say Alaska or Southwest, you just kind of ask them where you're supposed to drop them off. So I just thought, oh my gosh, this is hilarious.